Hey, good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. How's everybody doing? So I'm going to just do a little bit of sharing. Hi, Sylvina.
Hello.
How are you?
Excellent.
Good. I'm good. I just want to do a little sharing so people can join us on Courageous Conversations. Because I'd love us to be on a journey, because Sylvina's a really interesting friend of mine who does some really cool stuff. She is an information architect. It's one of my favorite titles that I have seen in a long time, and you get to have that title. I love that. So, Sil, tell us a little bit about, hi, Omid, and let us know you're here. When you're here, join us, and give us a little shout out, a little hello, a little how's it going, how you coping with the rain out there? Are you having a courageous moment with the rain? In Toronto. So, Sylvina, tell us a little bit about what, firstly, you do, because I think you really do some really cool. You are the epitome of bringing courage to people, I think, in many ways.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What do? I help people bring their vision and their dreams from their head into a reality, into a planned step-by-step process of how to get to the actual manifestation of whatever you want.
Right.
So whether it's a short term or long term, we sit down and I sort of pull what's in your head and we sort of organize it and see what legitimize it in the sense of what's good for a process that can actually accomplish something.
So for example, it's the reason I wanted you on the show is because I believe, and when we have conversations, you inspire courage in people in their own professional endeavors.
Right.
Because, we're talking about putting yourself out there. Putting yourself out. Tell us how courage and you fit together like a PB&J.
Mostly because when people, when you have an idea inside your head, to make it real. To
hey,
bring
Mia.
it out.
Hi, Lotus. Nice to see you, everybody. This is Sylvina, my good friend.
When you're stepping it from outside of your head to reality, you get worried about judgment or perceptions or outside things that might influence it. So I sort of give that free space, non-judgment, that bring in what's out of your mind, so then therefore you won't have that hesitation to see what are other people going to think. We'll just throw it out and say, okay, let's formulate it. Let's see how it's going to work for you. What's your truth?
What's your truth?
What's your truth?
Yeah.
And what's your dream? And once it comes out and people say it, it becomes real and the fear loses every time they say it out loud.
Oh, that's interesting. So every time you seem to think, and it's kind of interesting that every time you courageously verbalize it in front of a witness, the courage goes up and the fear goes down a bit.
Exactly.
I think that's interesting, and everyone should really consider that or think about that as part of their journey. I know that when I'm afraid, certainly I get afraid, but every time you put it out there, you're a little less afraid.
Right.
So that's exactly right.
And afraid is very internal. Once you step out of it and let people in, the fear just sort of dissolves in the sense that you're going to get that support.
Yeah.
The more it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you need to work.
Right.
And it's also a marathon.
It's a marathon.
It's not a skill that you're going to learn right away. It's a constant practice.
Yeah, I love that. I love the notion of it's a marathon versus a sprint.
Right.
It's like something that you got to constantly work on.
Yes.
Because the gremlins will internally try to eat you up.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's again where that's internal voice. The more you keep it inside, the more that fear will get amplified.
Yeah.
Whereas once it's out, it really gives it the capacity to just disintegrate.
Hi, Nestor. Nice to see you. Hi, Armando. Nice to see you. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. When you say it's a marathon, do you have any, firstly, before I go there, what's your relationship to courage in your own life? Tell them a little bit about that.
This moment right here.
Yeah, you get a little nervous going on camera.
I do. I even have the sweaty palms and the lips.
But you're doing great. You're doing amazing.
Well, you just keep going. You just go. You just realize that it doesn't overpower you.
Or you don't let it. You don't let it overpower you. Exactly.
What I do is I look at the end result. I always know that there's always a reward after this.
And the reward is that you
succeed.
Yeah, right.
As little as it could be. Like after we get off, I'm like, okay, woo, I did it. I'll take that.
Celebrate your wins.
Yes, right?
Yeah. So celebrate your wins.
Celebrate the courage when you do it.
Yeah.
And that marathon comes in. It is a long-term thing. I have my clients, usually are longer than a year, 2 years.
Okay.
These are amazing people that understand projects, that understand it's for the long haul. It's not a short-term kind of thing.
Right. That's interesting. So you're with them almost holding their hand through the journey of their project.
I'm kind of that partner. You know how everyone's like, oh, I wish I had someone to throw things, ideas over and so on. But without giving up my business are still having the options of what I want. Because sometimes when you have a partner, you have to concede on idea, on creativity, on process.
Right.
But when you have sort of someone like me that just bounces your ideas and helps, they can still be yours. They're still yours. You don't have to settle. You don't have to change, adapt with partners. So I'm just sort of a support of your idea.
Yeah.
And engage with you and back and go, okay, let's find the courage. Let's find the information. Let's find the things that you need to get to that place.
I think that's so interesting. And also when people are solopreneurs, when they're kind of doing their world on their own, it's kind of nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of, but also someone like yourself who has a lot of expertise. You came, Silvina hails from the marketing world and advertising agency world. But you're also really spiritual and you're also really wise. And you've got a good way about, you understand structure of how things are put together and
business and what you need from stage one and something as simple as setting up all the hands-on things of the government or taxes or whatever to then the concept of ideas and things that aren't formal or regulated or any of that
and websites
yes
and it creates a lot of nervousness with people get a little bit nervous.
I find that people get nervous when they have to commit to something. Actually, the courage to
commitment is tough for people.
Because there's a lot of flip-flopping, right? And there's a lot of like, oh, I'm not sure. And that's, the courage is stepping into being, I guess what I'm trying to say is solid into a choice.
Yeah.
So once you make a decision to say, okay, this is it, and I'm going to stick to it, and then move on. Don't feel that you can't change later on.
Right.
But you're not going to get ahead unless you commit to little decisions. Right?
And would you say that that's the formula for overcoming fear?
Yes.
It's like commit to little decisions.
Commit to little decisions.
And just go forward and see and commit to that next little decision.
Yes.
That's very interesting. So
rather than thinking of the big picture.
Yeah,
break
it down.
Break it down.
Break it down.
Break it down.
So these are tools for confronting when you're afraid, especially when you're in the professional realm, but also in the personal realm. I think this really, the break it down, it's a marathon, stick with the course, gather supports, you are that support.
Now that support needs to be also very mindful.
Yeah.
Because when you are being brave and courageous in ideas, you want to make sure that you are in an environment that is healthy and supportive.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So because it is something that you are. So when clients are sharing their ideas, whether they're crazy or not, whether they think, oh no, I don't know, they feel safe and that, okay, well that's okay. How can this be done? Cannot, right? It's not that crazy. Like sometimes they'll think that it's crazy and then we put it down on paper and go, oh my God, no, it works.
Yeah, and one of your clients, Sonia Cote, who I had on the show, she wrote a book, I'm Not Naked Anymore.
Yes.
You really inspired her to courageously rewrite it and to get a little bit more deep in her revelations.
Yes.
And boy, what a great book.
Oh my God, the stories that came out after.
Such a great book.
It is such a great book.
Shout out to Sonia Cote.
Yes.
Silvina in the house.
And I have another client right now who's
doing this really courageous thing.
Yes, she's channeling and doing energy things and it's amazing to see her just bloom and step into herself with that. And a lot of people...
Was she a channeler before?
No. It's sort of a recent addition of these last 5 months and turning it into something that is a passion for her.
So she now has a channeling event coming up or something?
Yes. We actually have two. So for mediums and channeling and spirituality and to actually find messages. So sometimes, to find that courage of where to go and if you're unsure... she's great at being able to find and helping you find a message. Like you'll hear a message in whenever she channels that will work for you.
Wow.
It's quite amazing. I have been watching her bloom. And so, but it's taken her courage.
But your courage, rather, you inspire courage in others to bloom is what I'm hearing, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even her and I working with this together, because right now, when you're talking about channeling and spirituality and courage, some people, the reception of it can be either way. So we are both facing, this together and face the courage to communicate, to say, hey, there's this channeling, there's this spirituality, there's all these things that are ether-esque in the sense, to believe and to engage in. And so you have to constantly just face in there and find your tribe that supports you in that belief.
That's interesting. Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you don't have a tribe, but you need a supporter, and I think that's what you provide in that. Now, what is your relationship to courage? I want to know what you've experienced in your life with courage. You've had some interesting experiences in your life. Tell the people what you have experienced courageously. Yourself.
I think the most common is just to engage with people. I grew up moving around a lot from different
Where'd you move
countries.
from to?
From Argentina to Brazil to Canada to various places in Toronto to Europe and then back. And so
you kind of need to be developing. You can't just hide.
No.
You have to engage.
No, you have to
learn
engage.
how to deal with people.
You have to step outside and go to the unknown, different country, different language, different things. And it became a comfort because once it becomes unknown.
Yeah.
Now that experience, it becomes something that I don't even realize that I'm being courageous about.
Right.
And someone will go, oh my God, that's so courageous. And then you forget that you're like, that's
I've
courageous.
Done that, yes.
So that's the magical thing about courage is that you don't sometimes even realize how you've mastered it until someone tells you, wow, you did that. That's amazing.
That's super cool. Yeah,
and
super courageous.
Yeah.
And you came out, you left the whole military stuff in Argentina and Brazil, right?
Mm-hmm,
yes. In the 70s.
Yes, my parents.
Crazy.
For political reasons.
For political reasons. So that's all pretty. You come from courageous roots. Although, I mean, I'm sure it was scary too. It was incredibly scary too.
Well, it's the immigrant. What's happening now and what's seeing, it's really connected me to that and what it takes, like these people moving from country to country to find that freedom and fleeing and so on, and what it takes, the courage for that.
Because you're in your home, you're in a nice little home, and suddenly the world, the government, the political situation demands that you have to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so courageous.
It is.
And scary all in one, but you have to be courageous to do something.
Yeah.
So that's quite something when I think about that.
Yes.
And how does that, do you think, influence your life today in terms of when you're working with your clients or when you're working in your own life? How does that influence today? Do you think those experiences in the past, or is there?
There is. It gives you sort of a perspective to be able to receive a lot without judging.
Okay.
From different cultures and different countries, you just get exposed to a lot of things. So when someone, shares something with you, it doesn't sound as surprising, I guess. So then therefore it's not as shocking, then it reduces everything. So.
And you also call yourself an awareness advocate.
Yes.
Why that title? So fascinating.
Because I think it's one of the most important things as an individual for growth and to create sort of this world and this space that we want of I guess happiness and joy and connection.
Yeah.
That sort of I'm sorry, I lost my track.
No. When you talk about awareness advocate.
Oh right, awareness.
Yeah.
There we go.
Don't forget to be aware.
I know, don't forget to be aware. To me it's the light. It feeds me.
Yeah.
Awareness. The more I know, the less fear I get, the more I feel in control.
Right. So information is power. Knowledge is power. Awareness is power.
Absolutely.
Right.
The more you know, the less you react.
Right.
The less you have emotional and physical things.
Yes.
When your mind is at peace and you know more, your body sort of follows along
Absolutely.
with that as well.
So it's an interesting thing you're saying, because there's so much a temptation to not be aware.
Yes.
Because
it's easy. A lot of distractions.
Yeah, distractions. And also life can be kind of painful sometimes. Can be a little bit I want to just hide. I just want to I'm just going to hide now. And what you're saying is awareness, and I say this too, awareness, but I believe awareness alone can do nothing. We need awareness. And then I talk about action, and you talk about action too, which is what you're talking about with your clients as well. That action is the result of awareness, but then courage is what activates it. Yes. And puts it out there. So it's nice that you guys are all joining us. Tell us your website. What's your website? I love the name of your website.
Sincerity.ca.
Sincerity.ca. We're dealing with someone who's very invested in the word sincerity. I love that. And there is such an opportunity to not be sincere in this world. So I guess advertising might have inspired the need for sincerity.
It did. Advertising definitely, after living and being in that culture, in that world for many, many years. And one of the reasons why I left is because I was like, there's no authenticity here, sincerity.
Right.
It was always a manipulation. And so I stepped away from that, and I decided to combine my talents of marketing with the integrity of spirituality.
Yeah.
And so that's where sincerity sort of came to life.
Yeah.
Of realizing that's my beacon, sincerity, whether in whatever we do.
Right. And, go to sincerity.ca because there's some really interesting descriptions of what it is that you do and how you work with people. And what's your ideal person to work with? Your ideal client is someone who, what's their greatest need that you fill? Put you on the spot now.
No, you know what? Commitment to the long haul.
Yeah.
Commitment to marathon, to know that it's a long-term business and an endeavor. It's, it's a constant growing thing, and it's not like almost a destination.
Right.
It's a constant little stops, and it's a process.
Yes.
There's no destination to it. There's no sense of, I'm going to get to this spot.
Yeah.
It's always a growth. It's an evolution. And so clients that are really committed to understanding, it's, a 1 year, 2 year commitment to this process to really see something grow. You need that commitment.
Right.
Like even for a marathon, you're not going to turn into a marathon and start, sign up for a marathon without any training. You need years of training to be able to master that.
Right.
Entrepreneurs, exact same thing. You can't expect to build a vision that you have quickly.
And you really are a jack of many trades too for a client. You bring them a variety of aspects.
Yes.
From the text to the marketing to the development of the idea, the actual troubleshooting of the idea.
I'm really mostly help with actually getting it done.
Yeah.
Let's get her done. So sometimes, I get clients that, whoa, and I'm like, okay, that's okay. Let's work at the pace. But the point is to keep them going and making them make decisions, helping them make decisions and feel committed to it.
Sure. It's like a coach.
It is.
It's like a coach through it. Yeah. So an entrepreneurial coach is what it sounds like. Something like that. Okay. Sincerity.ca. And also, look, if you're looking, for someone who's an information architect in terms of how you put your ideas together, architecting your ideas and bringing them to fruition, and also really having a tremendous amount of awareness through that, Silvina Echegoyen is your woman. And that's right. So check her out at sincerity.ca. So today was a moment of a courageous conversation. I want us to leave this program with a courageous thought. On the spot, I'm putting you.
Okay.
Yeah, a courageous thought that people should take away. Like, what is something that a person who is working on their idea needs to take away right now? They're working on their own, and they need to do something that is courageous for their idea to come to fruition. What would that be, do you think?
Trust.
Trust in
yourself. Trust in yourself and in the universe of your path. Trust yourself and the ability to close your eyes and find that space of trust, of comfort. You don't need to know. It's not about knowing.
Right.
It's about trusting.
Okay. How do you develop trust, Sil?
That's a muscle also that needs working.
Okay. What's an action that they can do to develop trust?
Change your internal language from a negative to a positive. Okay. So as soon as you hear yourself or you start feeling that negativity, say, I'm going to stop. And then switch it to, No, let's go into a positive thought.
And Sharita Cooks, thank you for joining us, says, everyone needs this. Absolutely. That's so true. Hi everyone who's joining us, Elena and Ivana. That's great. And when you tell someone initially, when you're working with someone, any entrepreneur that's watching us right now, what's the most important thing that they should remember in terms of their going to the next level? When you go to it obviously requires a lot of courage, but a lot of courage, but
yes.
They're working there, they're going to the next level. What's important for them? What's a tool we can start to leave them with to go to the next level?
I'm going to reaffirm the trust.
So trust is the most important
trust.
Because
you're going to have doubt. You're like, oh, should I do this? Is the word is not going to work out?
Yeah.
It's that trust.
Yeah.
I can't get any stronger. To help entrepreneurs trust your vision.
Okay.
That picture in your head is there for a reason.
Why is it there?
Why is it there? So, even why is it there? You could ask yourself that.
Okay.
But I'm more.
There are many reasons why.
Yeah, there's more. There's many, and but it's trusting that. Fulfill that sense of your mind of going, no, this is right. This idea, as crazy as it may seem.
So tell them that. Tell them that.
Trust your idea.
Yeah.
No matter how you feel or what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
If you're feeling confident, if you can close your eyes and find that peace.
Yeah.
Of saying, no, this is going to work, and you know it's going to work, then trust it.
Yeah.
Trust it, and then just do
Go
one
for it.
little step.
Yeah.
One little step. And then the next day, one other little step.
Yeah.
And whether that's making a phone call, as simple to a friend to say, look, I have this idea. And letting it out. So then therefore it doesn't become this big sort of secret in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
I'm also not about, amplifying and telling it to everybody.
No.
Because everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
So there's that fine balance of finding those individuals that you trust. And normally I would recommend going to someone that does have a sort of an entrepreneur archetype that matches that.
Yeah.
Do not go to someone that you know is not of that archetype, that isn't an entrepreneur.
Right.
Or not. Don't,
right.
So make sure that you are aligning with people that support and that have a sort of a vision like that as well.
Because there's a lot of naysayers out there.
Lots.
And people are like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. And that's their fear. That's their fear being imposed. So again, trust yourself.
Yes.
Trust your worth. And, and what other people saying is realizing that it's their fear and that's their perception.
And don't take it on.
Nah. Just
That's
go,
right.
Thank you.
When I first started doing the work that I do as a holistic practitioner, or a holistic practitioner is where I started, but people with my family would say, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to get a real job? And then when I got a master's degree and became a psychotherapist, I got a real job, but I still was a holistic psychotherapist. It's like, when are you going to be a real psychotherapist? I'm like, you know what? That's your shit, not mine. That's not my crap.
Yeah.
People have their thing, and it's become a very, very successful career.
Yes.
And so I think people will try to deter you from your vision, and your unique vision is yours.
And when people do, there's no need to be angry or resentful with that. What I do is I'm like, that's a perspective. Do I need to use that to learn something? Because sometimes something will tell you somebody that will teach you a lesson that you won't, you can learn in an easier way.
Right.
When someone tells you something. So it's that dissecting of information that's coming out, what feels right, what doesn't, and using that, but not necessarily making what someone says as a negative, impede your process.
Finding your self-culture is very much about tuning out.
Find that in her book, in her amazing book about that's exactly what I'm talking about in her book.
But it's really about tuning out other people's words,
fears, perceptions, judgments.
Right. Yeah, and there will be ton. I mean, there's no way I could have done what I've done thus far. I mean, courageous conversations. Why are you going to go Facebook Live every day? I've had people say, because I feel like it, because I want to, because I'm driven to it. Hi, Wendy. And Sharita says, what's your advice after the trust is there? Yes, good. Yeah, give some advice to folks. Once the trust is there, they've got the vision, they've got the trust. Now what?
Now it's the action.
Implementation.
Which is what she says, yes. Now once you have the trust, then you say, what is the implementation? What's the act that solidifies this trust? What is the act?
What is the first step people should take when they've got a great idea, they're trusting it, they're going for it? Number one thing they should do. Putting you on the spot again.
The number one thing they should do.
Number one, first thing, other than call you.
I would double check to make sure that's what you really want.
Okay, so now they know that it's really want. What's the action? The action. Do they need to do something in real life that's really, really important in real life terms?
Well, putting it in paper.
Write it down.
Buy the domain name. Right? Like, whether you know what you're going to do with it or whether you think that's the right domain name or so on, just do something.
Yeah.
Buy that domain name, buy that business plan template, you know, go online, and because I'm a big advocate of business planning, so if you do have that idea, put it on paper. Put it down. That would be my next step.
Number one. So activate it by writing it all down.
By writing it all down.
Yeah, exactly. And then get the domain name, which I think is so important. I really agree with that. I really, really do agree with that. And also
build it and it will come. Build it and it will come.
Yeah, exactly. And keep yourself from being influenced by the detractors, because there's just so many out there. You know, one of the things I did, and I don't know what you think about this, but what I did was I really worked. Hi, Victoria Lord, nice to see you. I really worked when I started 25 years ago. My ideas. I remember because I was reading spirituality books. I was reading Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and Stuart Wilde, and Stuart Wilde was a big influencer. He wrote The Force. He wrote the book The Force. I recommend that book. And he said, magic is to know, to will, and to keep silent. I discovered that in about 91. To know, to will, to keep silent. In other words, be focused. Know what you want. Will it with all your being, but don't blah, 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 blah to the world. Just what you said. But pick one person that you can trust to be a supportive coach in all of it. And it's what I did. And Silvina, I think that's what you provide. A supportive coaching to a vision creation.
Yes, well, I'm doing when I was building Sincerity and to the vision of the meditation, I've been in Dragon's Den with it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so talk about fear and trust and courageous, being on national television with your dream and it getting ripped apart and torn apart. But
because those bastards weren't kind.
Oh my God, no. And this was 15 years ago when I was talking about spirituality and meditation when it wasn't, at all in the mainstream.
Right, exactly.
And being ridiculed for it, dismissed by
public humiliation.
Yeah, nothing like national television.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't really give a shit. Sorry,
you can swear. We're on internet. It's okay.
Like I was so solid in my idea, and in my intention with it. It was so pure, that it didn't faze me.
Yeah,
and you will find that if you are really in the place of your purity of your concept and your intention,
right,
you will find that it doesn't matter what people say to you. It will fly off you.
Yeah,
because it is like Teflon.
Yeah,
like when you put that coat of your truth and your trust, it's Teflon for anybody else. And so that is sort of what I'm trying to teach with people, because as you're starting a business, and you need advice, you need to talk to people.
That's right.
And it's that fine balance between, asking people for advice and then hearing something that you don't like about it.
Right.
Now, when that happens, I will take that and go, okay, what do I need to learn from that? Right. I won't take it as truth, but I definitely will take it as something that I need to consider.
That's right. That's right.
And that's all that is.
Be open. Be open.
Be open.
But don't be, a sieve either. So be open, but not so open that you lose your own integrous ideas. Anytime that I have done that, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't work. No. Anytime I hold to my vision, it works. And that's, to me, the journey is you're going to trial and error it. You're going to trial and error it.
And if you are unsure, because, there's visions and there's a component to your vision that sometimes, whether it's this or that and you're unsure, go back to that trust. Quiet everything down.
Right.
And go to that trust. Because once you quiet everything down, you will feel that lean towards wherever you need to go.
Mm-hmm. So, and you need to really tune into where your body is taking you and your lean. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So once again, your website is
Sincerity.ca.
Sincerity.ca. This is Silvina Etchegoyen. This is Courageous Conversations. We're going to start our wrap up, and I just want to remind you to have a courageous conversation with yourself every day and with others as well, because that is what yields, I believe, the richness of life. I really believe that's what yields the richness of life. So understand that it's not easy, but it has tremendous benefits on the other side of it. So I'm going to sign off, wishing you lots of love, lots of good wishes and vibrations. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to proliferate this widely. Do share this if you feel moved to. And I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. again with a courageous conversation. Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Sharita. Thank you, everyone who came on the show today and watched us. Do you want to hit that finish button? All right. Here we go.
Bye.
Bye.